Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, I had a whole other story or, I guess, news plan, but Some of my sources sent me the breaking news on Keith Freeman. You guys, I broke the story about Keith Freeman committing fraud on his bankruptcy probably about 3 months ago, back in January. And he got so mad, he reported it to YouTube. They took my video down. It was a live video that I was discussing Keith Freeman fraudulent bankruptcy. Okay. He got mad, reported it to YouTube, and YouTube claimed that I, did some type of policy or infringement, whatever. Long story short, I had my editors take some stuff out, and I reposted it 2 days later of them taking my video down. Anyway, so that's what we're going to discuss today, Keith Freeman. And if we have time, we're going to talk about the city of Chicago as well. Okay, so thank you for tuning in, and we'll be talking about it. You guys stay tuned.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
That's right. You guys put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. Put in the chat, let me know where you're viewing from. You guys forgive me because I have my camera up there and down here, so I'm looking at this camera. I'm supposed to be. So today, this is breaking news. WGN just posted that Keith Freeman was indicted. He was indicted on bankruptcy fraud charges. Okay, let me just refresh your memory. I'm going to play the video that I posted up. And I battled with doing this. I asked some people, and they was like, "Yeah, girl, if you got the information, blast his ass." But I don't like putting people on blast. And then when he got my video posted, taken down, I got really upset, and I did some other things, and hence this indictment. Okay, I could totally take credit for him getting indicted. Okay, number one, I really don't feel bad about it because this is a public official. He is stealing taxpayers' dollars. He's stealing taxpayers' dollars, and he is mismanaging his own funds. So how in the world you can't pay your own bills, and you're trying to pay the township? You're over the Village of Dalton, I guess, finances. You got thousands of dollars of credit card expense on your credit card with the Village of Dalton and Thornton Township. He probably got a $100,000 credit limit on those two cards that he's charging stuff on. So if a man can't keep his own finances straight, he definitely can't keep a village, a township finances straight. Okay. So this is the video I posted probably about it had to be January. I think it was January 27th. That's the what am I getting at? That is the day that I posted. Now, the video that they took down, I think I posted that January the 24th. He filed for bankruptcy January the 4th. And I was able to pull his bankruptcy and look up, the information. And I just noticed, I knew he worked for the Village of Dalton. Everybody knew that. But he was lying on the payroll. He doesn't pay taxes. He's trying to 1099. I don't know if you guys know, it is illegal for a person to hold two positions in city government. It's illegal. You cannot hold two full-time positions in full city government. It's illegal for him to do that. So since he tried to, my sources tells me the person that was on the payroll of Village of Dalton, he strong-armed them to put them, to give, to take him off of regular payroll and 1099 him. Okay, so, and he's receiving a regular payroll check with Thornton Township. He's like the administrator. But so as I was going through his bankruptcy, this dude didn't put none of the Village of Dalton income on his bankruptcy. He totally lied. Okay, so this is Keith Freeman. Let me just play this for you. Since he was a young person, he was charged for theft in 2000. He was charged with a felony in Iowa when he turned 27. This was back in 2005. Theft in the second degree. Oh, Keith is a busybody. He has a long rap sheet. He never cleared up his charges because back in 2011, he was in Palm Beach, Florida, where they extradited him back to Iowa. They said out-of-state fugitive. Fugitive from justice. That's your boy, Keith Freeman. Because we all know Tiffany Henyard made a big fuss about not giving background checks. And this is one of the reasons why she didn't want to give a background check. Because anybody that works for municipal department or the city can have felonies. And I'm pretty sure they can't have theft. He's a nationwide criminal. He's been in Iowa. He got caught up in Chicago, Kentucky, Daviess County, Kentucky. He's been in Palm Beach, Florida. All these are appearing on his arrest record. How in the world are you filing for bankruptcy, not able to pay your bills? You live in an apartment. That's what I found out from his bankruptcy. He lives in an apartment, probably not so expensive apartment. You're collecting money from the Village of Dalton, and you're also collecting money from Thornton Township. So you're making about $150,000 a year. I'm pretty sure it's more. He's saying that he only works for Thornton Township. Your income, Thornton Township, municipality manager. Gross income, $5,800. Now, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed, but from the payroll expenses of Village of Dalton payroll, Keith is on here. This was just in October. Keith Freeman, $3,800 every 2 weeks. And he claims that he only makes $5,800 from Thornton Township, employer's name, Thornton Township. Reason why he's trying to get away with it is because Keith is a 1099 employee. He's not paying no taxes off his income. No Social Security taxes, no medical taxes, no benefit taxes. Total labor cost is $3,846.14. Now he's over the municipality manager, Thornton Township, and the Village of Dalton. You got two full-time jobs, $7,600. So he's missing $7,600 off this bankruptcy file. Keith owes a lot of money to a lot of people. This is not a bankruptcy for a company or anything like that. This is his personal bankruptcy. Capital One, he owes $2,500. Another Capital One, $5,500. Another Capital One, $8,300. Another Capital One, $8,700.
What the hell is even that?
How in the world is he getting so many Capital One credit cards? I do not know. He just incurred that debt on October 15, 2021. Credit Collection Services, $446. Discover Bank, $4,000. Greater Chicago Finance, he owes them $7,900 for some type of loan. Illinois State Toll Highway Authority, $150 fines. You're putting fines on there. Guys, this is the first time I'm ever seeing this type of stuff. Put it in the chat. He owes $70,000 to whoever. Oh, well, taxes, federal, state, and local. Don't you still got to pay your taxes even if you file bankruptcy?
SBA, $1,100. TD Bank, $1,400. Upgrade Inc., $2,800. That's a credit card. Verizon Wireless, $3,400.
$3,079. What are you doing, sir? He said he made wages and commission last year of $99,647. In 2022, he made $45,000. That's what he said he made. Then he's getting sued. These are all pending cases. Capital One versus Keith Freeman. Greater Chicago Finance is pending. It says within 4 years before you file bankruptcy, did you own a business or have any of the following connections to any business? He put yes. Keith Freeman LLC, Doodad's Novelty Store. Keith owns another business, Government Staffing Advisors Incorporated. Keith Freeman is the contact for this. So he's lying on his bankruptcy, and I'm pretty sure he's receiving a payment through this government staff, through the Village of Dalton. This video is a short video, but it's basically telling why the Village of Dalton is having problems paying their debts.
Issue has arisen regarding.
Okay, so yeah, I didn't want to play the whole video, but that's pretty much it about Keith Freeman bankruptcy. Okay, he lied on his bankruptcy. Now, if you don't know Keith Freeman, he's lieutenant. They called him the lieutenant, but right-hand man to Tiffany Henyard. He's the right-hand man for Tiffany Henyard. Matter of fact, some people think that Keith Freeman, he is the brains of the operation. This is why Tiffany Henyard is doing all this crazy stuff, spending the way she's doing, making bad decisions, how Tiffany is so arrogant and calling people disrespectful, just being disrespectful. They're claiming that it's all because of Keith Freeman. I don't know how true that is. I used to think that, but I don't know how true that is anymore. Anywho, so this is the report. And before I get to that, let me shout out some of these people in the chat. Andrea Collins, thank you for tuning in. D. Freeman just got indicted. Yes. Wild Man Actual, thank you for tuning in. Stephen 1976, thank you for tuning in. Noble Young is in the building. Trust God is in the building. Lexi is in the building. Thank you for tuning in. Donald from Chicago, thank you for tuning in. We have Mwanda. I hope I said your name right. From Norfolk, Virginia. Karen L. Davis Daniels from Michigan. And Nurse Petty, Thornton Township. Pastor Robert from Tampa, Florida. We have Michael from Chicago and AJC from Southern Illinois. Drum Major she has criminals all around her. Yes, she does. Kim Swanson, who is Keith Freeman, refresh my memory. That's what we're going to go through today. I'm going to refresh your memory. Okay. Stephen R. Obviously, the truth hurts, and you can try to hide BS for a while, but not forever. That is so true. Yuga fan 17161. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. And we got Strawberry is in the building. All eyes on me. Carmelo Ortiz, Smooth B from Philly. Thank you for tuning in. And Dan Buckley. Okay, and much, much more. Dwayne and the Warrior is also in the building. Okay, so Keith Freeman, just to refresh your memory, he is the guy that is basically Tiffany right-hand man, and he is, I believe, the author of Chaos. He has his hand in the cookie jar or in the pot cooking up stuff that he shouldn't be, okay? He totally shouldn't be. Keith Freeman, he goes around bullying people at Thornton Township. I don't know if you guys remember, he tried to bully Allison Key back in the day, when he wanted Allison to to produce all the Thornton Township records when he showed up in that special board meeting. And he tried to say, oh, I need all the village records. Okay. So yeah, he is the author of Chaos, and he's something else. Okay, let me just see if I can find Keith. Okay, so this is one of the videos about Keith Freeman, and it's only a 36-second video. This is, and they're saying this is the report. This is the latest report. Tiffany Henyard's top lieutenant indicted.
For bankruptcy fraud. Keith Freeman serves as the village administrator in Dalton and advisor in Thornton Township. He works directly for Tiffany Henyard, who is both the mayor of Dalton and Thornton's supervisor. Henyard's spending has come under scrutiny after a series of WGN Investigates reports highlighting first-class travel, meals, and public money funneled to her namesake charity. Federal prosecutors accuse Freeman of lying about his income from both of his government positions in his personal bankruptcy filing.
Dave stops.
So their bankruptcy filing.
Now shocking allegations against a Klein Kane high school.
Let me take that off. Bankruptcy filings. He lied on his bankruptcy filing, so they're charging him with fraud. I mean, what more can you say about that? He's only been working for a Village of Dalton for about 2 years. And then I believe Tiffany Henyard made him the supervisor over in Thornton Township. Okay. So he hasn't been like throughout Tiffany's term. Now, how did Keith Freeman get his position? Where my sources tells me that Keith Freeman was referred by another mayor in a different town. And my sources tells me Keith Freeman was under investigation because of some of the things that he was doing in that town. And so he referred Keith Freeman to Tiffany, and Tiffany decided to hire him. Okay. So let me just see if I can find that other video for you guys. This is it. Keith Freeman said he was called by God to work in the Village of Dalton. He said he tried to ignore the calling, but he was called by God.
Picture this, your brand new house.
And since he was called by God, everything's been great. This is what he's saying in this video.
So what happens when God calls us to a specific vocation and we run from it? My guest today, Keith Freeman, is here to tell you all about it. I'm Claudia Parker, and 5 Minutes of Faith starts now.
Hi, I'm Keith Freeman, father, husband, public servant, and entrepreneur, and I'm here on 5 Minutes of Faith with Claudia Parker. Recently, my wife and I, we started a few businesses, a few retail stores. We hit some challenges, some financial challenges. And I decided to walk away from a store that we created together, and I decided to go into another direction and start a hedge fund, which was pretty cool because I got to work with one of my friends. I probably got to get out of my wife's way because I was in the store with her all the time, probably bugging the heck out of her.
You could tell when somebody is a fraudster because you went from starting a business, I guess selling doodads. That's one of the stores that he owned and operate, I'm assuming. Then you went all the way to a hedge fund. You went from a novelty store owner to a hedge fund. Does that make any sense? No in between. Oh, I think I want to start a hedge fund so you could scam people.
And me and my buddy, we get together, we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna start this hedge fund. We start putting money together. We started filling out all the paperwork. We started talking to banks, and initially everything was just going great. And we were just like, go, 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 go. We had people that were interested. And then all of a sudden the brakes just hit. My wife and I, we had put sort of everything that we had into our businesses. And so there wasn't very much left to sort of fall back on and say, hey, listen, you know, what are we gonna do? We had no idea, we had no clue. And I had just stopped working as a public servant. I had worked for years in a few municipalities. And
he stopped working as a public servant because he was in trouble, legal trouble. That's why he stopped working as a public servant. Now, I don't know. I can't remember who I was listening to. I think it was Hannibal. Hannibal was hungry. He was saying that, was it Hannibal? Oh no, it was Jedediah Brown. He was saying Keith Freeman filed 7 bankruptcies. How in the world you filed bankruptcy 7 times and you ain't even 40 yet? I think, well, he might be 45, but 7 times. You only could file bankruptcy every 7 years. So literally you filing as soon as that 7-year mark is up, you filing bankruptcy. Anyway, Maunda Martin. Okay, Maunda Martin. Sorry, I killed your name. I think I did. The Warrior, thank you for the super chat. You got a good point. Good point, The Warrior. Keith Freeman probably would be indicted for embezzlement from the Village of Dalton and also charity fraud. You guys know the AG sent Keith Freeman a cease and desist letter saying, hey, you can no longer raise money for this charity because you failed to file the proper paperwork. I think there are 941s or 951s that you have to file if you have a 501c3, and you're supposed to file that every year, and they failed to do that. Okay, so yeah, he'll probably be indicted for that scam. Keith Freeman is, I know, you know what? Since everybody was questioning Tiffany on that charity, Keith Freeman, she took his name off the charity. He's no longer the registered agent for the charity. It's some other person. Anyway, so another thing I want to say something about this. You're a fraudster. You know a person is a fraudster. Oh, I started several businesses at one time. Who starts several businesses at one time? All that makes you look like a nut job, because nobody starts several businesses at one time. And if you're out there doing that, you need to stop. Just focus on one thing. I'm saying that as a business owner. I've been working for myself for the last 12 years. Don't do that. You need to stay focused on one thing. Make sure you have an income on that one thing, substantial income to sustain you, and then go do something else. But all the other stuff, if it's not generating income, it's just basically a hobby at this point. It's a hobby. Anyway, let's still listen to fraudster Keith Freeman.
I even told a bunch of my friends that I would never go back to it, ever. The experience was just way too much. And so I had become like primary daddy daycare. I have a son, he'll be 3 in a month, and I have a 7-year-old. So trying to manage those 2 little personalities, my daughter and my son, was just crazy. One day, I'm sitting in the house, and I had gotten a call from the same person. And he had said, Keith, you got to come work in this town. And I'm like, I'll never work in that town. Then his wife called, because his wife was the managing attorney for one of the cities. As a matter of fact, a couple of the cities. She was like, Keith, can you just think about it? No, I'm not thinking about it. I was just being stubborn. I was purposely trying to ruin God's purpose for me. And I knew I was.
God's purpose was for you to steal the Thornton Township money and the Village of Dalton residents' money. Was that God's purpose for you? God's purpose for you was to file bankruptcy so you won't have to pay none of the bills that you owe. It talks about paying your debts, okay, in the Bible. You guys let me know. Am I going off in the wrong direction? Doesn't the Bible talk about paying your debts and not trying to escape your debts?
So I got a phone call, not from, a congressperson, not from another elected official. I got a phone call from a firefighter. And he said, hey, listen, Keith, if you don't mind, can you take like 10 minutes? Just, we can meet wherever you want to, just sit down with me. But something said, if I don't pay attention and I don't listen, then I'm gonna keep going this path. So I go meet this guy.
Keith Freeman line. He needed the money. He needed the money because by the time he got into that office, he was in debt. Matter of fact, his some of his cars, I guess he drove a Maserati. It got repossessed about the same time that he got hired in at the Village of Dalton. Keith Freeman is trying to act like he was this sought out individual that they kept on, oh, give it to Keith Freeman. No, they called him because they couldn't find no other dummy. they couldn't find no other dummy or no other desperate person to deal with Tiffany Henyard. That's basically what how that happened.
At his firehouse, and he tells me this incredible story about how God blessed him. He was a public servant for years. He did a couple wrong things and it just led him in the wrong direction. But, God is faithful. And he had overcome a zillion obstacles to become mayor of one of the largest municipalities in the south suburbs of Chicago. Before I left, what he told me is that you can try to run away from your purpose, but no matter where you go, God's going to put you there. And I believe that you're supposed to be a public servant. You're supposed to serve people. You're the person that God put here for those things. And so I still wasn't trying to hear it. I'm being honest with you. I was like, yeah, I'm straight. I hear you. I didn't tell him to kick rocks, but in the car, I was thinking kick rocks. I really was. I'm sitting at home the very next day. It couldn't have been, like 24, it wasn't even 24 hours. So the next morning, me and my son, again, I'm playing daddy daycare. My son and I, we get down and we pray. And I'm like, God, if whatever you want me to do, like, I'll do it. And like right then, I got a phone call from my new boss, who is really, really dope. Like, I just couldn't mess with God's will. I just couldn't mess with his purpose for my life.
I got a call from my new boss, who is really, really dope. I wish we could redo this interview and see the same. Will we get the same description of Tiffany Henyard? Probably so, because he's a bootlicker. And will he say the same thing? He said he was called by God.
He gave me everything I wanted for compensation. He gave me everything I wanted for benefits. And ever since then, there has been a roller coaster of great things that have happened to me, my wife, my boss, and has just taken me to different places and opened doors for me that I would never, ever be able to open for myself. So I may be stubborn, but I understand how much God has blessed me and my family, my friends, and I am extremely grateful for everything he's done. Every day now, I go through the prayer of Jabez. My wife makes me read it, and I believe in purpose. And I believe that God sometimes will not allow for you to avoid your purpose, even if you try to sabotage it yourself.
Sure. God does
Do you
not
like having a P.O. box?
Allow you to sabotage yourself. I'm not for sure about that statement, because you are on a self-destructing path, Keith Freeman. You're on a self-destructing path. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going in the wrong direction. But I don't believe Keith Freeman was called by God. I think the devil got a hold of you and you and Tiffany Henyard, and you guys are running amok doing illegal things in the Village of Dalton and Thornton Township. The residents of Thornton Township is just fed up with you. They tired of your shit. Okay. Senior administrator of for Dalton, Illinois, and Thornton Township, Illinois, charged with federal court with bankruptcy fraud. A senior administrator for both of the Village of Dalton, Illinois, and Thornton Township has been charged in federal court with engaging in bankruptcy fraud scheme involving and making of false statements in his bankruptcy petition to conceal from creditors his assets and sources of income. Remember, when that video I showed you that I've created, Keith Freeman was lying about his sources of income and a significant claim against him. An indictment returned Monday in the U.S. District Court in Chicago charges Douglas Freeman, 45, or Orland Park with one count of bankruptcy fraud. The charge is punishable by a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison. Arraignment has not been scheduled. I could tell you from a factual standpoint, I know that this is my sources telling me that the feds is about to come in. The feds is about to come in. They're about to rain down on Thornton Township and the Village of Dalton. I already know it. You guys, like I said, my sources have already told me what the FBI has been requesting. And the stuff that they're requesting is the stuff that you request if you're about to come in and arrest some people. Okay? You're about to come in and arrest some people. Let me see what I got another source coming in. I want to give you guys all the information. Let me just see what's going on with this. Now, one of my sources is clowning at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Anyway, so like I said, one of my sources already have told me that the FBI has requested some information, and they will only request this information if they're planning to come and take some people into custody. Okay. Now let's get back to the indictment. It says an indictment returned on Monday in U.S. District Court in Chicago charges Douglas Freeman, 45, or Orland, Illinois, with one count of bankruptcy fraud. The charge is punishable by a maximum sentence of 5 years in federal prison. Arraignment has not been scheduled. What I wanted to say is, they charge it. It's only one count of bankruptcy fraud. But Keith Freeman, he's going to try to get out of jail. So I'm pretty sure he's going to offer some information to the DOJ to see if he could get out. He's going to say, oh, I got kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Keith Freeman, what can you do to help us with this investigation? That's how normally what happens. Okay. What information can you provide us? And it better be some good information. Can you firsthand knowledge, information, can you provide us to help us with this other investigation? Okay. The indictment was announced by Morris Pasquale, acting U.S. State Attorney for Northern District of Illinois. Robert W. West Wheeler Jr., Special Agent in charge of the Chicago Field Office of the FBI. Justin Campbell, Special Agent in charge of the IRS Criminal Investigation Chicago Field Office. And Ruth N. Mendonca, inspector in charge of Chicago Division of U.S. Postal Inspection Service. Valuable assistance was provided by the U.S. Trustee Program. The government is represented by the Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason Julian, a Special Assistant U.S. Attorney Brian P. Noodles. It says, according to the indictment, Freeman on January 3rd filed 2024 Chapter 7 bankruptcy petition in the U.S. bankruptcy court in Chicago. And the petition included schedules of statements of financial affairs, a document in which the debtor is required to identify, amongst other things, all of this, his assets and sources of income, as well as any claims against him. And the indictment alleges that Freeman made several materially false statements and omissions in the document, including knowingly underreporting income he derived from his employment as both the village administrator for Dalton and municipality manager for Thornton Township, as well as the fees he received from private consultant. Hello. You know what? I was on the trail. You know, they did not. I requested the FOIA request for the Village of Robbins, and I couldn't find his name on there because I was thinking, well, maybe he's under this consultant. So I know I wasn't tripping. You know what? And I wasn't under the Village of Robbins. I thought it was another. My source told me another village he was working for. But I submitted FOIA requests, and they end up finding it. Freeman also allegedly concealed that the Village of Robbins, Illinois, has filed claim against him related to approximately, listen to this. This is why he was passed off. Listen to this. This is crazy, you guys. This dude just is he's a thief. Thief Keith Freeman. He's a thief. Freeman also allegedly concealed that the Village of Robbins, Illinois, had filed a claim against him related to approximately $90,000 that Freeman received in excess of his authorized salary while he was the village administrator. This is the position he held from 2017 to 2021. Keith Freeman is a thief. And I believe, who is Robbins' mayor? Let me just look this up right quick. Robin. I don't think this is the guy. This is not what my sources told me. You guys put in the chat, what's another town? Start with a P. That's in around there. It starts with a P. I don't have my notes with me. And since this is breaking news, I wish I could think off the top of my head, but somebody put in the chat, let me know. I think it's Phoenix, the Village of Phoenix. If you guys are from that area, let me know who's the mayor for the Village of Phoenix. I believe that's the village. Anyway, so going back to the indictment. So he stole from the Village of Robbins. And remember, if we go back to that last video, he's talking about, oh, it was such a mess. I didn't want to get back into government. No, because you're lying and you're stealing from people. $90,000. You almost stole $100,000 from a city. And you're trying to tell us it was such a mess. I would never go back in government. Remember, I told you, because he was under investigation. Okay. They filed a claim against him. He was the village administrator for Robbins and held that position from 2017 to 2021. My problem with this, okay, you know, that area, everybody knows everybody. It seems like the mayors know everybody. You know, all the mayors know each other. Why in the world would you refer Keith Freeman to someone as new and as fresh and as not as smart as Tiffany Henyard to this guy? Why would you refer Keith Freeman to Tiffany Henyard? You just pawned him off, pawn your mess off to her. So was it a setup? Is this all a setup? They knew Tiffany Henyard was going to fail because she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Is that what? Oh, give Keith Freeman off to her. Anyway, Freeman also furnished the Chapter 7 trustee with a purported copy of his 2022 individual income tax return, which represented that Keith Freeman's total income of employment was $45,000. The indictment states that Freeman knew he had not filed an income tax return for that year, and that his actual income, which included $100,000 salary for Dalton position alone, substantially exceeding that amount. He got hired in March of 2022 to the Village of Dalton. He was collecting $7,800 a month for and I'm wrong. He was collecting $7,600 a month for the Village of Dalton. But they also get an expense account. I think he gets to spend so many dollars amount on his credit card. So he probably pulling in about 10 grand a month. And then, then they really needs to change that. I don't know why the trustees or no one's made up a resolution. When they go out of town, they get a per diem. The per diem is way more than what they make on their salary. Tiffany Henyard get a $600 per diem per day. Keith Freeman is allowed $400 per day. That's way more than you make, plus traveling expenses. So it behooves them to travel. They make more money when they travel. They need to change that. If you guys are in the Village of Dalton, you guys need to talk to the board of trustees. They need to make a resolution to change that per diem, because that is ridiculous. Per diem, I think I told you guys this story. When I was working in engineering, when we traveled out of town, they paid for our flight, and it better be a regular flight. They paid for our hotel, and we was allowed maybe $65 a day to eat per diem. And I worked for a Fortune 500 company, a petroleum company. So we was killing the game in the money. So why would a small village allow their administration a $600 per day per diem and $400 a day per diem, plus eating expenses and travel? Doesn't make sense. I'm just saying. So he made $100,000 and he lied on it. That was his 2022 taxes. It was further part of the scheme they use it. And I'm surprised they only charged him for one count of bankruptcy fraud. I guess because he only filed bankruptcy this one time. It was further part of a scheme that on January 30th, 2024, while testifying under oath at a meeting of creditors, Freeman falsely represented that he was not an employee of Dalton and that he did not receive payment from Dalton. The indictment state. The following month, Freeman allegedly caused his pay from Dalton to be directly deposited in a recently opened bank account that he had not disclosed to the creditors. So he was lying, and they used this word correctly, scheme. He was scheming against the United States government, bankruptcy court. This guy was scheming. Scheming. It doesn't make any sense. Smooth B from Philly said, no, Keith don't run nothing. Kamal does. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm noticing Kamal needs to be on the chopping block. Kamal is a criminal. And he's a liar and a cheat and a whole bunch of other stuff. But Tiffany loves those type of people. And okay, somebody gave me the information. So Tiffany loves criminals. She loves schemers. She loves men. She loves men. Matter of fact, I had somebody in my that DM me saying, "Hey, Tiffany is a paid HOE, and she used SEX as a TOOL. That's why she has all these young girls and these older ladies that have checkered past." And I believe it was what's his name, Jedediah Brown. He revealed that one lady, she was arrested for prostitution. She now's work in Thornton Township. Okay, so she loves those types of people. That's Tiffany Henyard. She loved Keith Freeman is her man, but Keith Freeman, he's real dorky. You could tell he's not. He's real. He don't got no swag to him. He ain't from. You don't call him if you got some trouble. You call him if you want somebody account hacked into or something like that. Email hack. He's that type of criminal. He ain't no thug. Anyway, I mean, he probably tries to be, but he's not. So he falsely reported that he was working for Dalton, and then he even went up to the bank and opened up a new checking account. This fool opened up a new checking account like they not gonna find out. You opened up a new checking account, and you said, "Yeah, deposit my money from Dalton in this new checking account." Like I said, like they're not gonna find out. Just to let you guys know, any checking accounts open, it doesn't matter if it's online, especially if you're going into the actual bank. The federal government has access to that. Okay, you can't hide an open checking account unless it's overseas somewhere. If it's in the United States, you can't hide that. The public is reminded that an indictment is not evidence of guilt. The defendant is presumed. Why they putting this on here? Because all the indictments that I've ever read, they never put this on here. They doing that for these black folks out here. Talking about, oh, Keith Freeman going to jail. Keith Freeman going to jail. You about to lose your job. Keith Freeman going to jail. You about to lose your job. I've never seen this. I've never seen this ever. I've never seen this. The public is reminded that the indictment is not evidence of guilt. The defendant is presumed innocent and entitled to a fair trial at which the government has the burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. If convicted, the court must impose a reasonable sentence under the federal statutes and the advisory U.S. sentencing guideline. Okay, so this is the indictment. In this, let's see if they got any. Oh, they didn't put any exhibits in here. You know how sometimes people get indicted, they take snapshots of the exhibits of why they're indicting them, like the evidence. So anyway, that's Keith Freeman. Keith Douglas Freeman going to jail. Keith Freeman is guilty as charged. Sherry Hatcher, she brought up this petition. Let's bring it up. Let me see. Will there be a mugshot? I'm not for sure. Probably so. Let's sign this petition. Remove Keith Freeman. At this point, Tiffany Henyard needs to make a special announcement and fire Keith Freeman. When would Tiffany step up and be a woman and do the right thing? When would she step up and do the right thing? I'm waiting for her to have this moment of empowerment and like, oh my God, she took a change for the good. She turned and made this magnificent change. You see how she's operating now? She's operating in transparency. She's actually for the people. Tiffany has so many chances to get her wheels turning in the right direction. It's sad. Like, she just don't want to do right. She's gonna die on that hill that she is right, or her people that she picked is not wrong. So Keith Freeman, make sure you sign this petition. Miss Sherry Hatcher, she actually put the link in our chat. Okay, so make sure you sign that petition. Before I move on to our next, I just thought this was funny. I really thought this was funny. You know how they put links on different posts on the news, right? And this was from the last township meeting, and everybody was letting her have it. And she just sat there. Some of the things that, you know, she sat there and she tried to bring up Frank Zuccarelli. I can't understand for the life of me. Why in the world would you bring up a dead man? But she tried to bring up Frank Zuccarelli in this meeting, saying, and then the other guy that he always defending her, and he don't even work. He's probably trying to get a job though. He's probably trying to get a job, but he doesn't work in the village or Thornton Township. But he's always interjecting his opinion on people. I think his name is Michael Smith. But anyway, he's always interjecting his opinion on people of how Tiffany is doing the right thing and calling everybody else out. Dude, just, you don't have nothing to do with this thing that's going on. So anyway, so she just sat there and listened to some of the stuff, and then other people she had to chime in. So this is from the news. I just want to share that with you.
For the most part, refused to answer.
When you don't answer questions, there's something to hide.
No, Madam Supervisor, we are not brainwashed. We are fed up.
Henyard is under siege in both of the public offices she holds, Thornton Township Supervisor and Dalton Mayor. The most recent controversy involves a taxpayer-funded trip to Las Vegas, in which a Dalton trustee is accused of sexual misconduct against a village employee. The woman claims in a lawsuit she and a member of Henyard's security detail, who was also on the trip, faced retaliation after reporting it to Henyard. They claim she responded by saying if the information got out, Henyard would be ruined and all the work she had done would be lost.
As a black woman, I want to see you protect black women. And I haven't seen that, Tiffany, since you've been in office, even in Dalton.
And I understand Let's not talk about an investigation while I was pending, but it wasn't pending until it was exposed. And she had to do it herself because you betrayed her.
WGN Investigates reported earlier this year Henyard and her allies in the township racked up more than $67,000 on travel in a several-month period last year. Many of the flights were first class, so were the accommodations. Henyard has never fully explained the spending and continues to say she's the victim of vicious opponents and racism.
We're here to help each other, not hurt each other. And it's a shame that us, I'm talking to my black and brown communities, will sit here and fight.
Henyard had several supporters in the crowd, including anti-violence advocate Tio Hardiman, who offered himself up as a mediator.
This baby has not been charged with anything. Be ready to throw the baby away with the bathwater.
We've learned federal investigators have been sniffing around the South Suburban government's Henyard runs for months. The Illinois Attorney General has also found Henyard's staff is violating open records laws by refusing to turn over financial records requested by WGN Investigates and others. It's unclear whether further action by the state AG or the feds is imminent.
Oh, it's imminent. It is imminent. We could just say that her days are numbered. Okay. Tiffany days are numbered. Anybody has anything to do with Tiffany that works in the Village of Dalton or Thornton Township, their days are numbered. Now, T.O. Hardiman, I haven't did my whole research on him, but I know he's an advocate of Tiffany. Maybe that's a post or a live stream, separate live stream that I could talk about. But I really haven't did my research on him to say.
Whatever your business needs, Vistaprint can print it, like packaging from tape to thank you cards.
Maybe that's something I could do in the live stream. You guys put it in chat. Let me know if you want to learn more about T.O. Hardiman. I really don't care. I really don't care because I feel as if T.O. is just trying to support Tiffany because I believe that she is a black woman. And this is what he says all the time. Oh, she's a black woman and she's never been convicted of a crime or even accused and even indicted of a crime. So he wants to garner support for her, I guess. Anyway, somebody told me Terry Wells. Yeah, Terry Wells. That's the mayor who referred I believe, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. That's the mayor who referred Freeman to Tiffany. And like I said, did they think Tiffany, they just passed Freeman along because he was causing too much and they just felt bad? Well, we know he need a job, so let's give him to Tiffany Henyard. And Tiffany Henyard was so dumb, she made him over 2 positions, Thornton Township and Village of Dalton, which is stupid. Anyway, I wanted to go on Facebook right quick before. Let's see, just to check what Jedediah Brown, he always has something funny to say. Oh, he's live on Facebook. I'm not going to stream his live. I don't think I should do that. Maybe I'll talk about it. I got to view it. Maybe I should talk about it a little later on. But on his post, he said Keith Freeman just got indicted on federal charges. It begins hell week pending. Updates coming ASAP. Okay. He posted on here, Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, Chief of Staff, Executive Assistant, hasn't been to work in a week and a half. Did she quit working for home or did she get fired? I don't need Dalton staff to tell me anything. I got Big Brother, elected officials, professional hackers, investigators, and people fun. Lacey, nothing to figure out. I've been telling you I'm not the typical activist. Do as you did with that truck you stole and hide for a couple of months, unless you want to join the opposition for redemption, if it's possible. I'm about to expand my investigation into the officers now. Command staff's reports completed, and now let's see what we can find on the patrolman. He messy. I got hella new receipts, so tell the lawyer to stop calling me before I get upset, Staples. You know what you did, and hear me. You reached not long enough to destroy my lot. Sit your crooked arse down. Jedediah is crazy. Tiffany Henyard was in the FBI building a year ago trying to get a charge on someone. Keith better snitch first, because I got proof she turns. And now y'all not cool because you testified against her in the recent deposition. What? Okay. A recent deposition. What is this? What is this? Let me share this post with you. Well, you got to get past the advertisement. Where was I? It says, this is slick embarrassing. It's also my sentiment that I came for one thing and tips have captured me. The craziest part is the so-called conscious community asking for proof. Then close your eyes when it's put in front of you. That is true. That is true. I'm trying to get this video to play.
WGN TV in Chicago.
Has your son forgiven you for shooting him? What did you learn in prison and in your time?
Our small but mighty team has reported 120 stories in the past year.
Let's go. Mr. Guevara, I'd like to talk to you. Sir, don't leave your dog out here.
It's not unusual for us to have confrontations with some of the characters we cover.
Is Rita staying with you?
It says self-proclaimed super mayor of a small suburb of Chicago has earned enough headlines to fill the month's worth of newspapers. She also earned the attention of federal investigators who have picked her up the trail of our reporting. This is her.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
Okay.
Meet Tiffany Henyard. She's the mayor of a small suburb about a half hour south of Chicago. She actually has two jobs. She's also the supervisor of the largest township in Illinois. It's the reason behind her self-appointed title.
Hey guys, it's your favorite super mayor.
Get it? She's the supervisor and the mayor, super mayor. She makes good money from those two positions, and oddly, she denied the amount to us.
You make almost $300,000 between your two elected positions.
I do not. I don't know where you got that number from.
I don't know. Why would you lie about that? Why would you lie about in this public information? That's, to me, that's just stupid. My sources are saying that Keith Freeman was actually referred by Mayor Agpawa, I don't know, Agpawa. That's what my sources is telling me.
Got it from her own village and township records.
Anyway, this is the backstory of how one of our most talked about investigations came to be. When our investigative producer, Andrew Schrader, first came to me and said, "You're not going to believe the credit card charges these officials in Dalton and Thornton Township are racking up," I was instantly intrigued. You see, I grew up a few towns from Dalton, so I've witnessed firsthand the struggles some south suburbs have endured over the years. Dalton is a working class community where the average person makes just $24,000 per year, but that didn't slow Mayor Henyard and her team's spending.
We need receipts to understand what's going on.
It was that first story that led to that infamous interview.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas?
Why would you lie about that? Everybody know you went to Las Vegas. It's like, are you that like brain dead or ditched in the head? It's like everybody knows. Like it's no secret. It's like, what is wrong with you? Can somebody tell me what is wrong with this lady?
What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
Let's stop right there, because as a reporter, I know there are a million ways a politician could have answered that question.
And she did.
Because remember, I got the tea with the receipts. Matter of fact, if you want the tea, get it from me.
Rather than responding to questions from reporters, Henyard makes videos pouncing on her opponents.
Larry the liar, stop it. You caught, poof, be gone, you caught.
And promising answers, but never quite explaining her spending, leadership style, and transparency. And that's evidence of the role personality plays in this story.
You the ones that's costing the village money. I don't have that call. All right. Okay.
What was she supposed to shoot? You wanted her to expound? Don't drag out the meeting.
I made a motion.
You see, Tiffany Henyard does not like to be challenged. She demonstrates this at almost every village board meeting when opposition trustees ask her for more information about village vendors and bills before they'll agree to sign off.
But I shouldn't have to sit up here and break all this down.
That meeting was a mess. It led our photographer to snap this image of me with my head in my hands.
She shouldn't have to sit here and break all this stuff down. Okay, Tiffany, you're the mayor. Why wouldn't you break all this stuff down? It's called transparency and accountability. That's why you have 6 board members, 2 of them that just go along whatever the hell you say, but the other 4 is trying to hold you accountable, trying to make you be accountable to the residents because you work for the residents, Tiffany. And your boy Keith Freeman up here going to bat for you. Going to bat for you. But this love affair is going to soon end because one of them going to turn on the other one and try to get less jail time.
Challenged. She demonstrates this at almost every village, but the tips flowed in. and any reporter worth his press pass would have pursued them. Residents and business owners accused Mayor Henyard of targeting her political opponents.
They destroyed my trucking company. They shut my store down.
Whenever we go over to the village, we don't get a response.
Dysfunction in Dalton means bills don't get paid and interest adds up, leaving taxpayers on the hook. With interest, the bill has now grown to more than $427,000. A bank threatened to repossess more than a dozen village vehicles, including police cars. When a trustee asked the deputy chief, a Henyard supporter, about it, he denied it.
There are no Dalton vehicles being repossessed. I know exactly who you're talking to. And guess what? It's been taken care of.
Then, a few days later, the bank sent a letter to Dalton officials. Yup, the village.
Remember Chief Lacey, he like a damn fool. There's no bill, there's no trucks being repossessed. So you just don't understand. you just like flying in the blind here, and you just like, oh, she said it wasn't, so there isn't. Come on, dude. It's like, and he said it so, he had so much conviction when he said that. There's no trucks being repossessed. I know exactly what you're talking about. Do you?
And guess what? It's been taken care of.
Then, a few days later, the bank sent a letter to Dalton officials. Yup, the village was $76K in default. Lo and behold, after our stories aired, the village sent a check and the bank backed down.
Hey guys, it's me! Yes, me! Superman!
Even Henyard's pet projects run into payment problems. The guy who put the coating on the village's skating rink told me he didn't get paid for months, forcing him to lay off staff. The mayor blames trustees for not paying the bills. They blame her for blowing the budget and not being transparent.
We are doing what is legal, what is right by the community, and we will continue to fight for you guys.
Speaking of money, let's get back to travel by Henyard and her political allies. A couple of months after our first story aired, we got a new batch of credit card bills, this time from the township.
Records show township officials spent more than $67,000 on trips to Portland, Austin, Atlanta, and New York City. Many of the flights were first class. So were the accommodations. In Atlanta, they stayed at the Four Seasons, costing taxpayers more than $9,000.
I'm afraid this story doesn't end there. You see, Tiffany Henyard's name is also on a cancer charity.
I want people to know that I'm caring.
Tiffany Henyard told me
that you tried to go on Roland Martin to deny and Angela Lee. You said, no, it's just somebody using my name. And look at you, up here clowning.
In November, she cares. Apparently so much so, it's also the name of her charity. Check it out. The Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation posts videos highlighting walks and other events that prominently feature the politician proudly promoting her cancer charity.
I just want people to know that, hey, Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation is here. We will help anybody in need.
There's just one problem. We found Tiffany Henyard's Cares Foundation didn't file the proper paperwork with the Illinois Attorney General. So there's no way to tell how it collects or spends money, which, by the way, largely came from taxpayers.
Y'all are black, and y'all sitting up here beating and attacking on a black woman that's in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourself.
When she ignored our questions and then several deadlines from the AG, Henyard made a surprising about-face. She traveled to Washington for an interview with Roland Martin.
All I can tell you is that I'm not the one on anything. That's the only thing I can tell you for now. So I'm just trying to answer to the...
So you're saying there's a foundation that's not registered, but it has nothing to do with you?
Correct, that's true.
Okay,
that's
so you're not aware of any of the work that they've done, money that they've raised, anything along those lines?
Correct.
But her name is literally the name of the foundation, Tiffany Henyard.
Tiffany Henyard Cares. That's not my foundation. This is somebody just using my name. Okay, so you don't have the wherewithal to tell someone that is out there not to use your name? Come on now. This is like really ridiculous.
Cares. She attended events. Her photos are everywhere. Money and manpower from the governments she controls provided most of the money for the foundation. And did we mention her top advisor in both the village and the township actually was registered as the top agent for the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation. And on the board are other people who work for Henyard. The wild thing is, I've actually wanted to walk away from this story several times. That's because the area that Tiffany Henyard serves is a relatively small portion of the Chicago region we cover. There are definitely bigger stories for us to investigate, and we continue to report on those. But as tips come in and continue to prove true, they point to conduct that shortchanges residents.
These are easily verifiable lies. That's unacceptable. That immediate attention didn't get kicked up until the lies came out on WGN.
So we'll stay on it. And
yeah, so it's kind of hard to turn away from this Dalton, Illinois story because these lies are easily verifiable. Everything, a new day comes, when a new day comes around, something new is coming out and something more outrageous than the last story comes out. So it's kind of hard to turn away from this story. Anywho, you guys, I really appreciate every single last one of you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Jay Boomer, I am so ashamed of myself for picking on Black women. Forgive me, Tiff. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed. Okay, so you guys remember, if you want to look at that video, the video about Keith Freeman's bankruptcy, I'm going to, let's find the content. Freeman. I'll put the link in the description. And I'll share it. So, and that to give you the rundown about Keith Freeman's bankruptcy. Like I said, when I found out he was filing bankruptcy, I just did some digging. I ended up finding some FOIA records or requesting some FOIA records. Some of my sources gave me some information about Keith Freeman's employment. And I have another website that I use to check people backgrounds and stuff like that. And I was reluctant back in January. It was actually back in December. I was really reluctant to come out with his background because I do believe if you serve your time and you're on the right path, I believe you should get, a second chance. I do believe that. But however, if you're serving in a municipal position, you're serving the public and you're still doing illegal stuff, I think that's a problem. Anyway, so that link I just posted up in the comment section. That's the link to the whole rundown about his bankruptcy. And when I did the live stream, he got my stuff taken down. And I'm saying Keith Freeman. YouTube said I went against some YouTube policy, so they took it down. So I had my videos editor edit all the stuff they said I violated. So anyway, that's just a synopsis of his bankruptcy. And so Keith Freeman, he basically lied. Okay, he lied on his bankruptcy, and he's lying now. He's a liar and a thief, and the truth ain't in him. Okay, so that's it for today, you guys. I am sending all my good to you. I will talk to you soon.